Hello guys and welcome back to another Hunters Prestige fitment video. On today's video we're showing you how to fit our brand new Hunters Prestige version 2 rear spoiler. Okay, so the tools required for today's installation, you're going to need a ratchet with a 10mm socket. You're also going to need some sort of adapter or a Torx T25 bit. You're going to need a trim tool, one long and one slightly more stubby. You're also going to need a pick, and we recommend using some masking tape as well. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is with the masking tape, you just want to mark up around the D-pillars. And the reason why we use masking tape is so you don't scratch the body of the vehicle. So we recommend putting the masking tape around the top, just above the D-pillars. Down the side of the glass. And also around the bottom, just above that. Like so. And then you want to repeat this on the other side. Okay, so using the longer trim tool, what you want to do is just peel back this seal just here and tuck the trim tool just behind the D-pillar. And then just pry away. There are clips just behind the D-pillar, as we'll show you shortly. Please do be very careful when you're removing the D-pillars because they are very, very weak. There's actually a front part and a back part of them. So if you do break them, you will know because the actual plastic weld on the inside of this panel will come loose. All you've got to do is use a plastic welder or an ultrasonic welder and then re-weld them there. And then you want to repeat that on the other side using the trim tool in the middle of the D-pillars, prying them off like so. Make sure you've got all the clips placed. It is easier to have the door open when you do this. Okay, the next step is to actually remove some bolts. So using the 10mm socket you've got, you can use a ratchet. We can use an electric ratchet just to make the process a little bit quicker. The bolts you need to remove is two on the face, so one on this side and one on the other side. Just here, and then there is another 10mm just underneath up here. It's very hard to see on camera, but when you actually go to remove it, you'll notice it quite easily. Okay, so now those four bolts have been removed, the only thing holding this actual back panel on is actually clips that just run along the top. So what you want to do is just tap it either side, like so, and that'll release all the clips. And then be very careful, don't remove this just yet because it is still connected. There's a wire just connected to the rear light, so you just want to remove that. There's a little clip on the outside just here, so what you want to do is use the trim tool just to pop that off the back, like so. And then there's a release on the front of that connector, just at the front, to release it. And that is now away from the vehicle. Okay, so as you can see, our new spoiler doesn't come with any of the clips, and you also have to transfer over the brake light. So that is what we're going to do now. The easiest way to do this is with a trim tool or a pick. Just pick at the clips on the corner, and then when you twist, they actually release like so. So poke it in one side, and then twist. There should be 9 of these clips in total. Okay, the next thing we're going to remove is these little like nut certs that are on either side, as you can see here. Best way to do it is to put something in there, like the 90-degree pick, and then just pull them out. Now when you put them onto the new spoiler, please be very careful in putting them in, because you can just drop them down that hole. Obviously if you do drop it, just turn it upside down, give it a wiggle. But don't put them in too tight, just put them in there loosely, because when you go and put the 10mm bolts on the upside, you may have to move them ever so slightly. The next thing we need to do is actually transfer the rear light onto the new spoiler. As you can see, we actually left 2 clips on the actual rear light because this whole piece comes off as a whole. So we're going to just remove all the T25 bolts that hold on that light and transfer it onto the new spoiler. And now all those T25 screws have been removed from the back of the rear light. The only thing left to actually hold it in place are some retainers. So the best thing to do is get yourself another trim tool. We use these little stubby ones because they're nice and easy to handle. And you just want to push in the actual trim tool to actually release those clips. So there should be just 2 of them. So there's one on this side and then one at the top just on this bit. So I'm just going to get it at an angle and just lift that tag up like so, and again on that side, and then that light is now free. Okay, so now that's released, the last bits we need to do is actually remove these little metal clips that are left on the actual original panel. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to transfer in total. So the best way to do it is to get the pick underneath, just grab it and then lift it up. I'm just going to get this out of the way. Right, so now we need to transfer all of the clips from the previous panel onto this. So the first thing I'm going to put back is these little metal clips that we just took off. Make sure you put the orientation of them the correct way. The ones at the top of where the reverse rear light goes in just here, they actually go upwards, and the ones down the bottom obviously go down. So if you are struggling to find out where they go, the best way to just double check is just to put the light back into place and then check on the brackets and then all the holes that are left with nothing in or where the screws go. Or you could just reverse the video. This is where all of the metal trim clips need to go. Okay, now we're going to put in the rear light. Put that in first. Then put the retainer over the top of that, and then just push in your clips that you removed earlier with the trim tool. and we're just going to put the T25 bits back in place. Okay, then we're just going to transfer the metal clips we took off first. And you shouldn't have anything remaining other than the 4 bolts removed earlier. Okay, and the last step, just before we put it back on the vehicle, we're just going to check all of the lines, make sure everything matches up perfectly, make sure all the brackets are done and everything is clipped in as it should be. Okay, so we're now ready to put the spoiler back, but what we need to remember first is we need to put that connector back in. Bear with me 2 seconds. There you go. Right, so the easiest way that I've found is to actually put that clip in first, back into the guide, and then put that connector in there, like so. Just give it a wiggle, just make sure it's in correctly. You shouldn't be able to break it. Okay, and then you need to now put the spoiler back on. So the best way to do this is just to make sure all of the holes are going to line up with the clips that you'll be able to see along the edge. It should feel pretty good, and all the holes should already pre-line up where you're going to put the screws back in anyway. And then just push it down. Make sure all of your holes are going to line up. So that's the easiest way to know where it's going to sit. And you can also look on the underneath of this line, make sure it all meets up nicely. Obviously, if the gaps are different either side, don't worry about that, because what's going to happen is you're going to put these screws in, and what that will do is actually pull the spoiler down. And obviously, like I said earlier, if you can't see the retainer just in there, that's why I said put it in there loosely. You may need to just move that left and right just with like a pick of some sort, but you'll be able to see it when you look straight underneath anyway. Right, okay, so now that spoiler is on and we put the bolts in. Obviously we checked the connector before we put it on, but all we're going to do now is just check that the brake light is operational. So one of the guys just pressed the brake pedal for me. Yep, that's all good. And then all you want to do is just check either side of the spoiler just to make sure everything's nice and flush both sides and that they are equal on both sides. So now that is all been checked and the rear light is operational, we're now just going to put the D-pillars back in. And again, best way to do that is just to check all of the clip holes line up, like so, and the retainers go in. And then just give it a whack. And then you can remove the masking tape. And then all I'm going to do now is just check one final check, just to make sure all of the panel gaps are all right. And all done. Okay, so there you go guys, that is the end of today's fitment video on how to fit our version 2 gloss black spoiler. There are other versions of this spoiler on the market, but this is actually a product that we've designed and manufactured ourselves. The other versions on the market don't fit as well as ours. There's actually a step down at the rear of the spoiler, and also the panel gap does not match very well. So ours fits really, really nicely, and I hope this installation video was really, really easy to follow. If you have any questions, please get in contact with us and we'll be happy to help. See you in the next video.